All right, folks, I've shown a few scooters here on the channel, and I'm kind of, I'm looking for something that's in the middle between the Ultron X3 that I've got, which is just a beast, and the basic scooter. Well, this one kind of ticks some of those boxes. It has suspension, lighting, and app to control it, and it even has solid rubber honeycomb tires so that you never have to worry about getting a flat. That's a biggie. All that for under 400 bucks. Well, let's take a look at it. The iScooter Max E9. Welcome to the Vapor Trail channel. I'm Tony, and I love my electric vehicles, whether it's an electric skateboard, electric bike, or an electric scooter. I love them all. And of course, I'm also into solar power, solar generators, and solar panels. The whole idea of being able to power an electric vehicle such as this with the solar power, it just intrigues me. So if you've been looking at electric scooters, especially the sub $500 stuff, well, most of them don't have suspension, and you've always got the specter of flat tires when you've got inner tubes in your wheels. And where I live, we have what some people call goat heads. We call them sand spurs. They're evil little tiny things that will pop even like a bike tire. So they'll definitely pop a scooter tire. So when I saw this one, I was like, yeah, this looks really very interesting. They do sell on Amazon, but they also have their own website. And this is not anything with affiliate stuff. I'm not an Amazon affiliate. But what I'm going to show you is the Amazon listing because that's what they sent me. It is under 400 bucks. So let's take a look at some of the specs real quick. So the headline on here says iScooter electric scooter, adults dual suspension. That caught my eye right there. 18.6 miles per hour. Usually when they rate personal electric vehicles such as these, they use a rider that's around 165 pounds. That's what they figure the average is. I weigh 195 pounds, so I'm going to be a little bit less than that. They say 18.6 miles per hour. I was able to get up to about 16.5. They're claiming 22 miles range. I got about 16 miles range. The 10-inch honeycomb solid tires, that's kind of a big deal. I like bigger wheels on these scooters. The little tiny wheels, it just feels like, it's too spindly. I like a little bit bigger wheel. So those honeycomb solid tires, that is going to keep you from getting flats. A 500 watt foldable and cruise control e-scooter with double braking system and app. The 500 watt powerful brushless motor scooter attacks 10 to 15% of climbing hills with speed and comfort. And when you download the intelligent mini robot app, you can use the app to unlock or lock, customize set 0 start, and top speed to 21 miles per hour. Yeah, now 10 to 15% grade is not a very steep hill. I took this thing up a couple of hills around my neighborhood here, and by the time it got to the top, it was like, ugh, I'm gonna get there. But you really shouldn't expect these things to do a 30% hill grade or something like that, so just keep that in mind. So it has front suspension and rear shock absorption, plus it uses a double braking system, electronic brake, and disc brake. So while it does have the disc brake, it also does regenerative braking. That means it adds power back to your battery as you use your brakes. It does have a cruise control system, but as you'll see, I like to turn that off. The way cruise control typically works on scooters, and it's that way on this one, is that if you're holding the throttle down for more than 10 seconds, it goes beep, beep, and then you can just take your hand off the throttle because it's going to keep going at whatever speed it was at when it beeped. I personally don't like that. It's annoying to me, and it's wonderful that I can turn that off in the app. They say this is IP54 water resistant. That is not a high water resistance, so this is not something you want to ride in the rain. It'll deal with some splashes, you hit a puddle or something accidentally, it'll deal with that, but I would not try to ride this thing in the rain, ever. And it does have a bright headlight and brake light, so that's cool. So when you compare this to a lot of scooters that are in this same kind of price range, this is pretty nice actually. Look, under 400 bucks, you got suspension on it, you've got the puncture-proof tires. Well, not just puncture-proof, they will never puncture. I mean, yeah, they're solid. Which you might be thinking, well, that's gonna make it a rougher ride. It really isn't because the honeycombs help to absorb that. Plus, you've got shock absorbance on this. Well, let's do this. We're gonna do a lightning unboxing and then we're gonna get out and ride a little bit and then we'll come back and share my final thoughts on it, okay? Let's go ahead. All right, well, let's show you how the app works. We're going to turn the scooter on. Since you don't have the app on, the Bluetooth isn't on. As soon as we open that up, well, it connected right to the Bluetooth. So what's nice is that right over here, you have your sport mode you can turn on and off, comfort mode or sport mode. You can actually see over here, it's going to show you that there's a little bit of a change in how it's going to operate. You can lock or unlock it. When it's locked, the throttle will not work and you can't turn this thing on, or you'd have to pick it up to steal it, but you could still steal it. Turn that off. And you can turn your headlights on and off here. You can also do that on the actual device, on the scooter itself. And you can turn, this is a big one for me, you can turn your cruise control on and off. I really like that. If you want to go a little bit further, you can get into your settings here. And you can turn this from metric to imperial. You can check your battery capacity. You can turn your cruise control on and off right there, but again, it's much easier. And by the way, this does remember when you turn it off and you're not using the app anymore. And you can also change it from, comfort mode is supposed to be 15 miles per hour. Sport mode is what I always ride it in. And it says 21 miles per hour. 16, 17 is about max for me. Zero start is kind of an important one because most of these scooters, you have to actually give them a little bit of a kick push before you start to roll, But if I turn zero start on, then I don't have to worry about it. I could just get right on and hit that throttle and it'll go. And last, you've got this little thing over here. It looks like a booklet or a manual or something. Well, this is actually going to monitor everything inside of the scooter, which I think is pretty amazing. The estimated remaining mileage on it is 15.1 miles. So you could look at it before you leave and whatever, or maybe even stop during your ride to make sure it's not overheating or anything because you got your scooter temperature and all that. Total driving time, 1 hour, 21 minutes. Current speed, remaining power, it's all listed in here, and I think that's pretty cool. If there were any error codes or warning codes, you'd see those on there as well. And last, you've got a firmware upgrade on here, so I'm actually going to see if we need to. Nope, it's currently on the latest version. All right, so we're on the first ride on this. I did use the app and I got it set up so that I could turn off the cruise control and put it off of, I took out the comfort mode and put it on sport mode so we get the maximum speed out of it. Let's go ahead and take our first spin. I feel a little bit of suspension on here, so that's good. Yeah, it's got a little bit of get up and go. Very nice. All right, I've got a pretty long hill here. This is where I like to test these things because it's not just somewhat steep at the top, but it's kind of long. So let's go see how this does. Most of the time, these types of scooters will not make it to the top without just basically crawling at the top. And that did better than most. So having these wheels on here not be pneumatic, not air-filled, these wheels, well, they won't get a flat, that's for sure. So that is nice, especially since of where I live. So the question for me was, how rough is the ride going to be? Well, it does have some suspension on it. It's not like massive suspension or anything like that, but it does have front and back suspension. And actually, it works pretty darn good. Here's some bumps. So yeah. All right, let's hit this speed bump. Nice. I'm gonna say that suspension actually worked pretty well on that speed bump there. Got a nice little jump off that. Nice. That's pretty cool. But the wheels, they seem to have some pretty fairly decent tread on here. I'm going to see what can happen if we go on this grass right here. Hold on, let me just do this real quick. I'm going to get into the app. All right, we're in sport mode. It says 21 miles per hour. Again, with a 165-pound rider probably at 195, I get about 16 or 17 miles per hour. I'm going to kind of loop around here, get a little run and start at this grass. Let's see how it does. Eh, not too bad, not too shabby at all. Sorry for all the wind, but it's making it. But we got a little hill. Nope. That's it. Okay. So, I mean, it will do some grass. There we go. We could demonstrate the suspension on this thing. I'm sure you can see it. So you can see the back there. The front, it doesn't move as much. I don't know if that's adjustable. I'll check that. But yeah, I mean, it legit does have some suspension to it, so that is nice. So again, me being 195 pounds, I'm a little bit heavier than 165-pound riders, which is what they probably use to test this thing on. So my range is going to be a little bit less than their claimed range, and my speed is going to be a little bit less. I only get up to about 16 miles per hour. That's the max that I've gotten on this. But to be honest with you, you don't need to go too much faster on these things. The other scooter that I've got, the X3 from Ultron, that thing goes up to 55 miles per hour, and it can be a little bit terrifying. So this is a good choice for commuting, getting around school, or just for having fun. It's summertime, man. Or at least it will be soon. I've owned, ridden, and tested several of these things now, and in this range, this is a very good choice. Of course, you know, you're going to look at the other ones and there might be something else that you like better, but that really comes down to you and what your needs and preferences are. But with small pieces of cactus around here randomly and those goat's heads or sand spurs, I like the wheels on this thing quite a bit. And in this price range, having suspension on it, that's also another big deal. The app is great because I can use that to turn on and off features that I don't want or whatever. I did not notice much of an increase though when in the app you can unlock sport mode, so you can go up to 21 miles per hour. I think the most I got was 17 miles per hour unless I was going downhill. So some of those things you have to take with a grain of salt. But ultimately, I think value-wise and feature set-wise, this is a good choice. So if you want to check it out, I'm going to put a link down there in the description to their Amazon listing. They also do have a website. Maybe I'll put that link down there for you as well. I don't know if I have a discount code. I'm going to have to go back and look through my emails with them. But if I do, I'll put that in there. And if I don't, I'll add it if they give me one. How about that? So that is the iScooter Max electric scooter. I believe the classification on that is the E9. And it's pretty darn good. And I want to thank you so much for your support here on the channel. Likes, comments, shares, subscriptions are always very important to my channel. So if you like what you see, hit the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, there's a red subscribe button down there and a notification bell. You can click both of those. You get notifications when I upload new videos. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, that's one way to do it. It's expensive to run one of these channels, cameras, lights, time, you know. If you'd like to leave a monetary thank you, there is a button down there for you to do that, and I appreciate you. What I'm gonna do is when people do leave a thank you down there, I'm gonna give them a shout out here on the channel. So if you like that, there you go. This channel's been around since 2013. I have done a lot of things in that time. These electric skateboards, scooters, bikes, the solar power, electric guitars, these are huge passions of mine that have always been passions of mine, or at least the electric skateboards for the last couple of years. But I've always wanted to be able to share them on here. I've got time recently to do that, so that's what I'm doing. So if you've been here since then, well, I really appreciate you. If you're new to the channel, thank you so much. It's very humbling to me, and I do appreciate you. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. We'll catch you next time on the Vapor Trail channel.